Everything in Formula One just shifted, and most fans didn't even notice the moment it happened. Because while the grid was still fighting over 2025 headlines, one quiet move inside Aston Martin may already be deciding the next era of the sport. Adrian Newey, the most successful designer in modern F1 history, is no longer shaping Red Bull's future. He's shaping Aston Martin's. And the first real machine born from that transition, the AMR26, is suddenly looking far more important than anyone expected. That matters right now for one simple reason. The 2026 regulation reset isn't a normal upgrade cycle. It's a complete rewrite of Formula One's technical DNA, new aerodynamics, new power unit philosophy, new energy deployment logic. These moments don't just reshuffle winners, they create dynasties. And Newey himself has made it clear his primary focus is this regulation change, even acknowledging he would begin the 2026 project already slightly behind the curve after starting work in March 2025. So here's the uncomfortable question forming across the paddock. What if being behind doesn't actually matter? Because history says something very different. Every time Formula One rewrites the rules, Adrian Newey eventually finds the answer. And when he does, the sport bends around it. Let that sink in. What's emerging around the AMR26 isn't just excitement, it's tension. Engineers inside the sport are quietly watching Aston Martin for signs of a concept breakthrough, the kind that appears small in testing and unstoppable by mid-season. Early design discussion around the car already hints at aggressive aerodynamic thinking, radical floor philosophy, and ideas inspired by decades of Newey innovation, all aimed directly at exploiting the 2026 rulebook. That's the part fans see. The part they don't see is even more dangerous. Because Newey's biggest weapon was never just creativity, it's timing, and the timing of this project could change everything. Stay sharp, this is where the story turns. For years, Aston Martin looked like a team with ambition but no finishing blow. Investment, facilities, star drivers, everything was there except the final technical edge. Newey's arrival changes that equation completely. Not instantly, not loudly, but structurally. And structural change in Formula One is the kind you only recognize when it's already too late. Think about the psychology forming across the grid. Red Bull knows exactly what Newey can do because they built a dynasty with him. Mercedes understands regulation resets better than anyone from the hybrid era. Ferrari is chasing redemption with its own new philosophy. Now add Aston Martin, with Newey focused almost entirely on the same reset everyone else fears most. Suddenly this isn't a midfield project anymore. It's a long-term ambush. And here's what nobody is talking about. The AMR26 doesn't need to dominate immediately to change Formula One. It only needs to prove one thing early, that Aston Martin chose the right concept. Because once Newey locks onto the correct aerodynamic direction, development speed becomes lethal. We've seen this before. McLaren, Williams, Red Bull. Different decades. Same pattern. Slow start. Concept clarity. Total control. So the real fear inside rival teams isn't lap time. It's trajectory. Be honest, who's actually worried right now? Red Bull? Mercedes? Ferrari? Or is the entire grid quietly watching green cars in the garage? This is the moment smart fans subscribe for, because the next shift isn't coming slowly. It's coming all at once. Now the pressure moves to Fernando Alonso. Because if the AMR26 truly is the foundation of a new era, Alonso becomes more than a veteran driver. He becomes the final proof of concept, and that creates a strange emotional equation. Aston Martin doesn't just need speed, it needs belief. Alonso's early reactions to Newey's influence already suggest something inside the team feels different, more precise, more purposeful, more aligned with long-term championship thinking. That's subtle. But in Formula One, subtle changes decide titles. Here's the twist though. Even if Aston Martin is building something special, 2026 will still be brutal. Because regulation resets create chaos before they create order. Reliability failures, concept mistakes, political tension. The first half of 2026 could look nothing like the second. Which means the real danger isn't failure, it's patience. Can Aston Martin survive the chaos long enough for Newey's idea to fully emerge? That's insane to think about. But it's exactly how dynasties begin. And this is where the entire story reframes. For the first time in years, Formula One's future might not belong to the teams dominating headlines today. it might belong to the team building quietly for tomorrow. That's why the AMR 26 matters more than any pre-season headline suggests. Not because it's perfect, but because it represents direction. And direction is everything in a new era. So here's the final question that will define 2026. Did Formula One just witness the birth of another Adrian Newey dynasty, and simply not realize it yet? Or is this the one time the sport finally moves on without him? Tell me honestly, no safe answers. Does Aston Martin become a real championship threat in 2026? Or is this hype before reality hits? Because the next hidden shift forming on this grid is already in motion. And the video on your screen explains the one rival move that could stop it. Watch that next. Because the AMR 26 might be ready, but Formula One might not be.